Hey, it's Mark here. So I've been looking at lots of things. I've been trying to look at as many markets as I can. Well, because to me there's still a bit of uncertainty around what the Fed's going to do and just exactly how strong the economy can be for the whole year. Like to me everything looks pretty good. I think the sentiment on the rate cuts is maybe just totally wrong. Historically, at least in the major recession in 2008, or in 2007, they started to lower rates after the damage was already done. Like Bernanke was the Fed chairman back then in 2007. They were trying to really to quell a recession, way before it actually started to really hit mainstream. And a lot of times, you can see there's little cracks before, the big unemployment turns and things like that. But what I've been following is I noticed that the sentiment towards the Indian stock market, towards the Nifty, was really high. Like there's people on Spaces. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of interest in the Indian stock market. So a lot of times when there's just a huge amount of people interested and really bullish, that kind of mania can be the top. And we saw that back in like 2007 with China. Back in 2006, 2007, the Chinese stock market had a huge run up. And back then it was even more of an like emerging market. They didn't have quite the economy as they do today, but that was sort of easy to see the sentiment. Like I haven't really looked at the valuations on the Nifty in India, but it looks like there could be at least a short-term top forming. And I put a tweet out on that on Twitter, and it's gotten a lot of interest. A lot of people are watching the Indian stock market because it's one of the few that's actually been the leader. Like it's been leading, with the Nasdaq in the past few months here. And but what I saw was an island top, and I'll probably do a video on that later on, just for the people that trade in India. Because apparently there's a lot of people, of course, all over the world on Twitter, the X platform. So I'll probably do a separate video for that later on tonight. But of course, we still got the Nikkei, Japanese stock market still holding in there too, and it looks pretty good still. I mean, it's since it broke out of that base, it's just kind of been able to stay up there, and it may come back and retest, or it may just keep going. I mean, it looks like right now it's going to come back and retest. Like this uptrend momentum got broken a little bit there. We're starting to break, it looks like. So we'll see. We'll see about that one. But I have a lot of trades on, and I put even more trades on last week. I think I put it in my other video that I put on some puts on CIFR and BITF, and I just put on some BKKT puts too, because the BKKT was one that saw a good setup in on the short side when it broke through that level there. And I talked about another video. So I did put on some out of the money puts on that one too. And the BITF was another one. And that one just had such a strong run up, like a fast run up, that there's a lot more that it can come down. It can come down to like $1 here. If it does take out that next level, it can go all the way down. I mean, technically wise, you can go down to like $1.10 is the next support level. So I put on some puts on that one too, the 150 puts, like for February. So it's got to be a pretty good crash to get there, but it's very possible, because I think that was the top for these crypto miners, and ones in that space. I mean, of course, like Bitcoin still looks pretty strong for the year, but it just seems like the rotation just came out of those and it's going to continue to come out. So those are some of the trades I made recently too, and the shot's still going well. Still got shot puts, and it's got a little bit of a move up today, but it's still below any levels, and it's just in no man's land here until it gets to the next support level, which is like about $1. And some of the other ones, I put on some XERS calls last week, and some of these biotechs are just kind of falling apart, but a lot of them they still have an uptrend going, and the XERS does. It's not really good that it held up there at that next level, but it still got this trend support, and the sell volume was pretty light up there, so it doesn't really look like a top there. So fortunately, I got some calls in that one still, and the NO still kind of messy here, but it looks like a bull flag just based on the volume. So we'll see what that does, but I don't have high hopes that the biotech are going to keep up forever. Like a lot of them, it looks like they broke down some levels, but we'll see. Like the uptrend's been pretty good still. It might be a pullback, and the VHT is actually right on support now, on that support line, and this one's been one of the better ones, just because it's more a sector fund, a really broad sector fund. And I noticed, the oil keeps going down when these oil producers are just getting wrecked here still. Like XLE just broke down below level, and rig has more lows. And I first alerted rig as a short setup back here on the 28th of December, and it's just got annihilated. And my puts did really well. Of course, I still wish I had some more monthlies for next month or something, but we'll see what it looks like. Looks like oil is going to come down and just test another support level. So I'm just going to watch that, see what happens with oil first, because it may hold up here and just go sideways. I'd rather see it kind of break down off of a flag or just a total technical breakdown first. And I've been doing a lot of research into the cannabis names, because I haven't followed them much at all in the past year, but I just found out that back in the end of September last year, at the end of September, there was big news with the federal government. The Biden administration was pushing to change the classification of marijuana to like a class 3 drug from a class 1. So it'd be more in the category of like a steroid, or, like even like an aspirin or something, more of a lesser of a criminal charge for marijuana, cannabis. So that put in the bottom on all these cannabis stocks and cannabis plays. So that bottom retested and held back there, and it's just in a steady uptrend now. And the technicals have been most evident with the MJ, and there's all kinds of these companies. There's big, small companies, but the uptrend has been really clear with this channel and MJ. So I'm kind of watching that to see if it holds, and see if there's a good entry spot on the ETFs, because I don't know enough about the individual companies to trade just the companies, but there's a lot of strength in these. So that's one of the other areas that's been really strong is these cannabis names. Like the MSOS has been, it's pretty much been uptrending since October too with the markets, and it hasn't pulled back much at all. You know, it's just it pulled back in December, but the relative strength's been really good the past month. You know, versus like small caps or some of the U.S. indices. And the charging stocks are continuing to break down. Surprise, surprise. And I've still got some CHPT puts that are doing really well. And like a lot of my contracts expire in a couple days for a lot of these. So I do have some farther out CHPT puts like in the Aprils. So that's good. So I'm pretty happy with the way I traded these because I just started buying farther up, more months out on the out of the monies. And I'm just looking through my portfolio here to see what else. Yeah, I put a tweet on the NTNX. Stock's been really strong still. I mean, this stock has never really had a significant pullback for months. I mean, it had a pullback in December, but that's because it was just pretty overbought, and you know, it kind of went sideways for a while there, but the second half of the 2023 it was really strong when a lot of things were kind of cooling off there and other stocks. So this one just hasn't really stopped and it's still going. Printed a hammer today, and they had a buyout rumor like 2 years ago, or I'm not sure exactly how long ago it was, but it was pretty long ago, and I'm sure people have forgotten about that. But the stock price hasn't forgotten because it's just it's been one of the leaders in the cloud space. And the other one is Snap. I still have some Snap puts. Because I bought the 1550 strikes like way back here before it bounced, and then those expire soon, but they still have a chance here. Like these levels are being threatened here again on Snap with this pullback. So I mean, it looks like a double top could be setting up there, or it could just go sideways. But that 1550 level's getting close here. Actually, the low is 1527 the other day and 1518 today. So yeah, it's a technical breakdown now. It's if tomorrow that doesn't hold, that 1518, you know, it's a technical breakdown, and it's probably worth some more puts. But there's just better. I think there's even better places to short, like, you know, like probably oil if oil continues to go down, and even like India, like that. I put on some INDA, the ETF for the India stock market, and it actually has some pretty decent liquidity on the options. So to me, that's like an island top. So I put on the puts on that one too today, and the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 are just pretty much sideways. So the way that they're acting just kind of makes me think that it very easily could just break out again, and we could go higher, especially with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Like I just put a tweet out on that one. The Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have about 60 to 70% of the mortgages in the United States, and they've really been kind of, you know, paired up with equity markets. Like they trended up in 2023 and they were down in 2022. So the I'm not sure if they're much of a leading indicator, but that could be a leading indicator now where we've seen these break out again. So the past couple months they broke out, and then it's just been consolidating, and that looks like, I mean, that's as clear as a bull flag you can get really, and or a triangle flag, and they're breaking out again off that flag. So looks like the highs are going to get tested again, or probably taken out. And even though it did go sideways for a while, but this has been really bullish. This has been really really bullish, and that, to me, that might be a sign that the economy and the stock market's gonna continue up in the first half of the year here. Especially if the Fed doesn't lower rates, because historically when the Fed lowers rates, that means there's trouble, and they're just trying to quell the damage they did with the raising the rates. So yeah, we just talked about a lot of things there. I don't think there's anything else that I really was looking at that really stood out to me today. Just the Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac. I hadn't seen that before. I hadn't noticed them. I noticed them uptrending months ago, and it's when I drew those trend lines. But they're doing really well, and I was looking at bonds too, like the 10-year and 20-year. You know, it looks like this could just be a pullback before the next move up, or it could be just a new trend started. But TLT and TLT is definitely in a downtrend now, and it looks like rates are going to go up. You know, like or rates are going to stay up. To me, what the last month or so is signaling is that with the 10-year yield and the prices is that that they're probably they might keep rates the same or even raise rates. So, but probably more likely to keep unchanged. That's why you've seen the bonds sell off a little bit. So that's something I'm watching too, just to see if this actually does hold up as a downtrend. And this down channel has been really holding up so far on TLT. And AMC continues lower too. I was really kicking myself for not putting those puts on when I saw it, but I just have so many other puts on too. I have a lot of puts and calls, of course. So, but that one's just continues to get annihilated. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to talk about, and I'll probably do that. I'll do a video on the Nifty and any other foreign markets that I can find, because it's more likely that if some markets are uptrending, that the state of the global economy is okay, where when they're all downtrending, when all the equity markets are going down lower, it's usually like a clearer signal that global trade's weak, or that everybody's weak. So the fact that Japan and India have held up a lot, but we'll see with India, because it looks like there may be a top end. It looks like there's still hope for the rest of the world's markets, that there's going to be some strength. And the bearishness on China and just the China bearishness in general, it just seems to be so it's just so widespread now that it's almost like taking the contrarian is the better way to go, because it's just I don't think it can get any more bearish. Like, pretty much the everyday person now knows that China's in trouble. So seems from from a contrarian perspective that there's something there on the long side, probably in just their tech. I mean, if I had to buy Chinese stocks, I would buy the tech companies or anything that has like a a hand in AI or data centers or hardware. Like I know so Alibaba has had some stuff going. Even though I mean the news flow is really bad on these, they have been doing some interesting things. And but I'd say Baba is probably one of the more kind of a litmus for the market. And Baidu's kind of a mess too, but I think KWEB's probably one of the better ones, as far as fundamentals go. But like I was saying, like the tech companies are probably the only place I would look for any strength, if there's going to be strength in China. But I'm just going to keep watching that, see, because the technicals are really bearish now, so it's just it very well may continue for a while. But there will be a buying opportunity at some point, I think, in these tech companies in China. So that's all I wanted to talk about, and I'll catch you in the next one.